Good morning, good morning, good morning. We're about to get at it. It's a varsity day today. It's varsity. It is definitely a varsity day today. So I'm gonna get in it. We'll get in it this morning. Good morning, neighbors. Good morning. Before we get into it, I'm gonna take a deep breath. Okay. Let's do what we came here to do. Good morning. I'm Jackie Glass, Mama, Navy vet, certified doer, and the laced up legislator for the House of Delegates, 93rd District. For those of you who are new here, because we had a little bit of growth. So every Thursday morning at 7 a.m., I go live. It's a space for us neighbors to gather, to sort of center ourselves in real time. It's a mix of community stuff, politics, all the things, part prayer, part policy, part porch talk, I feel like, because I believe in a space where we educate, advocate, celebrate, then legislate with care, with clarity and care. So good morning, Dr. I can't believe I'm saying this, Dr. Chioma Griffin. Every time I see it, I think, oh my God. Good morning, Geeky Breezy. Good morning. Yes, every Thursday morning, at 7 a.m. This is what we do. Okay, I am an early riser. For those of y'all know I get up and get at it. The military told me that we used to do more before 8 o'clock than the rest of the world. I firmly believe that. I'm not going to say that I'm up every morning like this, but Thursdays we are consistent. Okay. Thursday. So let's get in it because we got 30 minutes to get going. Know that if you are a community member that has anything going on, drop it in the chat. I'm going to share it. You have any sentiments going on, drop it in the chat. We here to do the thing. All right. So like this week has been a heck of a week, right? Like, I don't usually I try to stay honed in on how we can do because we are certified doers. That's how I stick at it. But I definitely need to, what's happening has really kind of struck my soul. And I always lead with care. You know this. Good morning, Mr. Little. Good to see you. But I want to say this. Breezy says, LOL, I was never the mentality, but I have the same mentality, man. You got to get at it. Or they going to get at you. Hold on. What does it say? I don't let I wake up the day. I don't let the day wake me up. All right, doers, here we go. So I want to say this. I want to just lead by this, just with all of the sentiments about where we are and things like that, is that America is very young. Okay. And if you've been on here before, you heard me say this. And when we were 100 years old, and I asked this last week. So if he was rocking with us last week before, I said we got new doers. So we're going to keep it going. When we were 100 years old, what were we doing, y'all? What was America doing at 100 years old? What was we doing? We were fussing, fighting, cussing with each other. We were in the thick of a civil war. And right now, we are literally only about 150 years past that, which means we are still an adolescent at this constitutional democratic republic. I choose not to say that we are in a democracy because we are not. We are in a constitutional democratic republic by which a constitution, this document, says that you can independently pick your representation. That's the democratic republic. So I am a representative in this republic for people of the Commonwealth of Virginia. And so like a teenager, like any other teenager, I'm going to tell you something. I got an 18 and a 13-year-old. There is tension, there is confusion, there is rebellion, there is growth, all happening at once. And we're watching this country still figure itself out while juggling global responsibility, because we do have that. We are like a global brother and sister. Not saying we're perfect, because I ain't never going to say that. Internal unrest and the weight of our own goddamn history. So yes, it feels heavy because it is. And we, this general public, are the ones holding it together, right? So I'm looking, yes, we are still young. Oh, you saw the video. Yes, cybersecurity, all of it. Yeah, I'm reading the comments. We aren't far removed from Jim Crow. And Geeky Breezy, I try to remind people that I myself am first generation post Jim Crow in my family. My father was born in the 1940s. My mom was born in the early 1960s. So I'm first generation post Jim Crow in my family's lineage. So we are not that far removed, right? But I want you to understand my role, because I think sometimes we get in this work and we're looking at what's happening at each level, and maybe your state representative role as a delegate. I'm considered a delegate because I'm in the House of Delegates. It's the same thing as a representative. My job is actually not just to be a legislator, not just to make laws, because that is a small portion of what we do. My job is to be a liaison between you and any state agency you're dealing with. So whether it's the Employment Commission, because I know we got a lot of folks dealing with that, DMAS, disability folks, Department of Social Services, the DMV, the DOC, I'm here to help. And even any public, any state regulated utility. So that's Dominion Energy, that's Virginia Natural Gas, that's Cox, that's all these things, right? That is my role. Whatever it is that you're going through at that level, you don't have to go through alone. And that is the servant part of my title. I'd spend most of my time doing that. 85% of the year spent back in district with y'all doing the stuff and things. And I take it very seriously. Okay. I'm just trying to be the person that I wanted when I was getting at my legislators next. So just understand that. With that, I know that there's a lot of responsibility. And I noticed on the video that I did that there's one comment that sort of stood out that really got a lot of just a lot of folks talking, was about how we are sort of, I mean, it's something that I see happening too often. Please, and if you got any questions, comments, throw them in the chat. Yeah, dad born in 1945, Norfolk. Yeah, it's real, man. But this is something I see happen too often. I need you to understand this, because I'm not going to pass this test. Okay. I'm just going to say it to you right now. If you're looking for me as a legislator or as a human being to pass either of these tests, I'm not going to do it. There's a purity test and an awareness test that I'm seeing happening. We are holding each other to these impossible standards. Like, you didn't post fast enough. You didn't say that right. You didn't show up how I wanted to. Let me say this. And as about as plainly and caring and beautifully as I can. We ain't got time for that right now. We ain't got time for that. We have to get litter proof, because that's what that is. That we have to get litter proof. We got to stop trashing each other over how aware or how perfect we think someone is or is not. We are not each other's enemies. Can I say that again? We are not each other's enemies. The focus is the flex, right? The focus is our flex. The grace is our strategy, and the execution is our mission. With that, okay, with that, I'm going to also say that we have to learn discretion, especially in a surveilled society. We are now in a place where surveillance is real. It's everywhere, y'all. Technology is a blessing sometimes, but it is also a burden. Let me tell you something. So my day job, because I'm a citizen legislator, so I have to have a day job. I'm a producer, and I was working with this city on building stories for my project, Truth Be Told, Virginia. And they were telling me how they have this software that when people show up to events, there's a software that can track everybody in the area's phone and tell them where they went back to, so they can know, where out the region, where throughout the country people came from to come to their events. They can say kind of where they ate, where they did. Yeah, you hear me? Do you hear me? If they can do that, I don't even want you to imagine, because I'm going to tell you, there's no imagining. It is us being watched of what we do. And so sometimes we're going to have to move a little bit differently. Sometimes our greatest plans won't be tweeted. They won't be posted. They'll be whispered in kitchens and hatched over folding chairs in back rooms. You know what I'm saying? So technology dependency on we're going to have to we'll have to chop it up about this, right? We're gonna have to get there. Hold on, I think I messed up. Let me see. Yep. So yes, that is a part of it. Like that's a part of it. Let me go to the comments. Let me see what I got in the comments here. About that, right? Like we are in a real place, a real place. So let's see what you got. Yup, liaison, public. Yeah, we're a public figure. It's a big deal. Oh, David said, you talk like normal folks talk. We need more Dems like that. We need more people like that because I can't stand to be in a room with people and I don't know what you're talking about. Like, make it make sense. That's my goal, is just to try to make it all make sense for me. I told you, I'm just trying to be the legislator that I want, that I actually want. So it's all right. I get it. What we see. Yeah, we are not each other enemies. Focus is our flex. It is. Okay, so talking about people protests being tracked by their gate technology is even tracking persons in stride. It is. The Geeky Breezy said that. It's for those y'all on Facebook and stuff. And then Soul Sean said, my theory is that those who are challenged to exercise my theory is those who are challenged to exercise patience may project an unreasonable social media expectations to feed their own entertainment fix. Yeah, that can be true. But listen, when we get in those back rooms, when we are whispering, that too is okay. That's strategy. That, quite frankly, in this time, that's like survival. And I am trying to survive through this. I'm trying to survive and thrive through this with my people. But I also know that this is a hard season. We are not just let me say this. This is not just a hard season. Can I say that? Like, this ain't no season. This is a fragile era. and I say this like with 100% of like in my core. Our power grids, our water, our economy, they are more vulnerable than anybody can think of right now, or at least that I can think of. And I'm saying that that's not a conspiracy. That is a consequence of some of the choices that folks have made, because we are in a, what is it called, a corporatist kind of society, right? And while we specifically might not be in a war zone in a traditional sense, right? When you see what's happening across the world in the traditional sense, the threats are real and they are already here. But even though they're already here, guess who else is here? Guess who else is here? You, me, we here. Yeah, we're here. Man, just like holding that in our hands, like we're here. What a time to be alive. Like, what a time to be alive. I can only imagine my ancestors being at a time where they were getting the change or going through the hard times and sort of in those back rooms, whether it was whether it was when they were being human trafficked or when they were being denied humanity or civil rights. Like, I think about that. So it is about what we do now. It is about actionable hope, right? Like, my middle name is Hope, but I'm telling you, hope is a verb for me. It's a verb. So what can we do now? I'll say this. I don't have all the answers, but I'll say that economically, we do have to build our local economies, right? Because I do believe that we are shifting to the United Countries of America, which means, y'all, we're going to be asking more of ourselves because the federal government's not going to be able to be big brother to hold certain things down. Learn how to barter, right? Learn how to grow food, skill share. Teach somebody something. I wish somebody would come over here and teach me how to have a green. I want to grow something. Socially, we've got to build tighter community circles, like, and actually take care of our elders, because that is a thing. Can I just say that? That's one of the biggest things I worry about. Check on these kids because these kids are living through it. Politically, I need y'all to just know who y'all representatives are. Just start with knowing. And if you're not into, like, so I say this, I don't always like politics. I like politics. I don't like what it does to people. When I hate and when I find myself not loving politics, I find myself making a great day. I find myself holding on to policy. And so if you don't like politics, you better for damn sure like policy, because your whole life is legislated. If you are I'm fully clothed here because a law says I can't be naked in front of this computer. Okay. Well, at least not on this side. Or I put on my seatbelt when I'm in the car because of law, right? Our entire lives are legislated. So if you don't have a policy area that you're just all in love with, then I'm going to ask you to start looking at budgets. Just choose to say, you know what? I don't really want to get into that other stuff. I just want to know where the money resides. I want to know how where do they, because your money speaks your values, both at the state and the local level. So I need you to get into the budget. If that's the only thing, and I see your question in the comments, I'm about to get there. Start there. That's where I'm asking you. Start by saying, where is my city's budget and what are they spending money on? Where is my state's budget and what are they spending money on? That's a beautiful place to start. Okay, politically, that's a beautiful place to start. So I'm looking, my theory, Soul Shun said, my theory is to exit. Yeah, got that one. Okay, y'all be the change. Hey, Amazing Soul, Norfolk, we need representatives to speak up. People are scared. I'm personally afraid for my family to travel because of their looks and their skin. And that is very valid. That is very valid. Soul Shun says change, exercise, patience, and strategic discipline. Absolutely. David James Glass, good morning. So good to see you this morning. He said, did you see City Council is going to shut down 10 schools? Seems like the wrong direction. I did see that they were going to shut down, that they are asking council to shut down 10 schools. Here's what I know. And this may be unpopular opinion, and I'm going to be pragmatic about this. Some of the schools that these kids that our little citizens are learning in are a disgrace. Just infrastructure wise, a complete and utter that no one should want their kids in some of these schools because of the way they are falling apart. That thing is true. That one thing is true. We have not, Norfolk in particular, has not treated education as a form of economic development. Right? Because when I think about economic development, it's the things that are going to bring people, that are going to bring business into a community. And I can tell you this, education systems are a huge factor for all families, not just the wealthy families, for every family. I want my kid, I haven't heard a parent yet that hasn't said, I just want my kid to go to a good school, get a good education. It is an economic factor, and we have been negligent. And I think part of that is because we have had a political system here that has not held itself accountable. I remember how I first got active. I went to school board and I went to city council, and everybody was pointing their fingers at each other like, it's because the school board's not doing this. It's because the council's not doing this. Well, the city owns the school buildings. The school board owns the policy and is responsible, is the hire and the fire of the superintendent. Y'all all wrong because the schools are crumbling and ish is effed up on the inside, right? So I do think, and I'm just saying this unpopular opinion, if the schools stay open, somebody's got to pay for it, right? And that's when we start talking about taxes, and that's when we start talking about, like, there are so many strings that are just being drawn out that we have to consider. That's why I'm saying get into the budget, get into the school system budget, see what the schools are costing, see what it's going to take. And if you can get people to buy in on the fact that we essentially would need to raise our taxes to help take care of or allow our school board to be a taxing authority or something. Because right now the school board has to go to the city council to ask for that money. They can't move freely. So therein lies a problem. Something got to give, David. And if you've got solutions, I think those folks are more than willing to take them, because I'm about tired of it. I'll tell you that. I'm about tired of them pointing at each other. I'm overtired of the fact that as a state legislator, we can't even have a decent conversation with our superintendent. That's crazy. So we have to see our school systems as an economic divide and the economic development, and make them take it seriously and not let them point their fingers, the local government, in a sense, point their fingers at each other. It ain't right. Yes, it ain't right. Okay. So historically, I'm getting ready to wrap up. I'm gonna do the rest of the questions, and then I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up because I'm seeing some here, and I'm glad that y'all are in the chat talking. I appreciate that. Good morning, activist David. I appreciate you. So, amazing soul, amazing. I always say this, amazing soul, Norfolk. What would you say to those who feel inspired to run for office but aren't quite ready yet? What do you do to prepare? I want to know what ready is because let me tell you something. So the question is what would you say to those who feel inspired to run for office but aren't quite ready yet? What is ready? I would like you to take a look at whatever office it is that you're thinking to run for, or just quite frankly, look at both local, state, and federal. Look at these offices and look at the people in these seats and ask yourself, could you show up for people in that way? I will say this, the biggest preparation, especially if you have a family, is making sure that they have buy-in. I am married to the community. I am married to my spouse, and I am bonded with my children and my family. So like all of it goes together. Do you understand? Like everybody wants you all at once. Okay. You're never going to be able to give enough to everyone. So I would say if you can get your family's buy-in, and you have you're willing to read, because that's something that I think is missing amongst people that run for office, is like a willingness to read. Then you're in a good place. You're in a better place than most. The test will be, once you get elected, how, if any, will you be compromised? And that happens to people. I've seen it. So I will say, you may have everything. Here's the deal. I don't discourage anyone from running, but I don't encourage everyone to run. Does that make sense? Because running for office isn't always about getting elected. Sometimes I ran for office. When I ran for city council, I was running and I said, I am running to talk shit. I'm just saying that. I said that to everybody. I'm running to say everything I know everybody else won't say. So keep that in mind, okay? Preparation, if you want to come, I'm on the ballot this year right now. So if you want to come and work with us and sort of like see what it looks like to just on that backside, I encourage that. Election day preparation is huge. So like just to see the production behind running for office, that's a thing. You're more than welcome to join us and like see the production side. Also, if you want to join my money team, so I hate fundraising. I've got some friends that are going to come and encourage me to like, go get that money, no mission, because that's the hard part for me. I have to keep my office afloat. So that's a whole thing. But there are other things, I think. David said, yeah, paraphernalia. I talk about you all the time, Davis, about your glass blowing and the marijuana economy. So why won't they invest in this versus all these apartments in the Norfolk has built? Okay, so I'm sorry. So why won't they invest into this versus all the apartments the city of Norfolk has built? This, oh, you mean education? I think that's what you mean. I think. And David says, I hear you. It's bad for the kids vibe to have to go crumbling building. Is this Spirited One says, is this also a ploy to fund the new Maury High School? I don't think so. I mean, honestly, Spirited One, I don't think it's a ploy to fund Maury High School. There actually is a problem. And that's why I said I really do want you all to ask for the school board's budget, right? Like ask for their budget to see what's being spent, where it's being spent. For some reason, we didn't, in the military, we were always taught about preventative maintenance system and how we had to do that to keep that ship afloat. We laughed with the crack on that. Like that was the work that was done on preventative maintenance, quite frankly, was substandard with the schools. Like we bought something and we didn't keep it up. But no, I don't think it's a ploy. But I do think that, and my son went to Maury High School. Maury High School was falling apart. He was like, I tripped and a step fell apart. It's like, what? I do think that what I do think happened in Maury High School is that there were louder voices over there, right? That is the truth. And that's why I'm telling y'all, like people like, I write my legislator. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you how I wish more people held me accountable. I hold myself to a very high standard, but I wish I had more people just like getting at me about stuff. I want it. I think we work better under it. Like people don't connect like not, excuse me, not people. There are tons of people out there connecting. Let me say that. And shout out to those people. And I did a video on like Lori Daysmith, who's always sending me the news that's going on. Like I have consistent people that are active and engaged, but I just need you to find your thing. I just need you to find your thing and then just hit at it, hit at it, hit at it. If everybody find the thing, then it would make us feel the pressure to do better. But people get to walk around like blah, 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 like it ain't nothing, because that there are a large faction of people that are just talking, calling people out without anything else, like within their own circles, just calling them out, like hold their foot to the fire. If they ain't hear you, I'm telling you, I had this issue come up with people, and it wasn't anyway, I had this issue come up, and then I told a fellow legislator about it. I told a fellow elected official about it, and I was like, I'm just not hearing about that. Like, I've been hearing about it, but that's because of access. So do it, get at people's necks. Yeah. Is that the strategy? Dollars budget to maintain school? Okay, so Soul Shun says, it was on job training for me. Soul Shun says, is that the strategy? Dollar/budget to maintain schools in valueless census tracts have been redirected to fund other areas, which supporters are the inevitable deterioration of the structure. I don't know that was the strategy, because that was, I think it was, I don't know that was a strategy. I'm going to just tell you, I think that there, and I can't say I know it all, but I think there was a level of laziness, and also just not listening to people, because you have maintenance workers saying, hey, here's what we can do. Okay. Yes. And Booker T. Washington, she said, is deplorable. And people need to go inside. You need to actually go inside. I get up in these schools. People don't know. I look, and I try to hold folks accountable. But, when I say stuff, sometimes it feels like accountability can feel threatening. So let me tell you this. At this point in time in history, right? Let me not end with this, but I do got to end with this, because today is a varsity day. I got a lot to do today, and I love it. And I love it. So let me say this. The most important thing that you can do right now, because I know everybody can engage in all the ways that they want to, is I need you to write. During this time, we do have people trying to reshape what they think is happening, sort of tell a different story. I need you to write your story. I need you to write your fears, write what you see. You are a historian, and that's part of my day job as a producer. Again, my project is called Truth Be Told, Virginia, a walking audio tour of contemporary Black history. Why? Because I think about Anne Frank's diary and how this little girl's diary shaped the world. Yours might do the same. It might inform your progeny, your child, your family lineage in a way that you don't know. I need you to write. I need you to write, even if it's one sentence a day. Lastly, actually, this ain't last. I'll say second to last, right? And I want you to hear this deep down. Deep down, you still deserve joy. Even in this moment, especially in this moment. Laugh hard, yo. Love hard. Dance silly. Rest deeply. Joy is not a distraction. It's a declaration that we are still here. Okay? Like, I'm going to go shooting on Sunday. I think I'm going to shoot on Sunday because I have a good time shooting trap or skeet. Skeet. I have a good time. I need that. I need that so that I can get back into it. You deserve, it's okay to want to have it. Do not feel guilty for it. You deserve it. Okay? Can we do that? Can we do that? Can you find your thing? Can we do that? Okay? Can we do that? Can we do that? Okay. Yeah, that's it. I gotta get going because I gotta be out of the door, and I ain't dressed. You see, do it look like I'm dressed to go to a ribbon cutting right now? I ain't dressed for nothing. But that's the morning due for you today. I want y'all to stay informed, stay aware. Don't be paralyzed. Be strategic, be kind, and most of all, be human. Be human. We are the bridge between what was and what's next. That's what we are. So let's build it both with our hands and our heart. Did you hear that? We are the bridge between what is next. We are. What was and what is next. We need to build that with our hands and with our hearts. Okay. All right. Until next time. Okay. Let me do these last couple comments because I don't want to be. I don't want you to not right. What drives the relentless effort to tear apart our education system? I love this. I'm going to answer this and then I'm going to read the rest and go. Okay. Mi amor Merli says, what drives the relentless? Let me tell you. Education is a critical mind, a critically thinking mind is difficult to corrupt. I think about back to the UDC, the United Daughters of the Confederacy, when the reason why we have Confederate flags still is because these women post all of this, so we're way past it, decided that they would start teaching the children, instilling it into the children, and the children would grow with this sentiment, right? I mean, because we keep hearing indoctrination, indoctrination, indoctrination. They would grow with this sentiment. And that's what it is. It is a sentiment about traitorous people. That is difficult, very difficult to challenge when we put it in them very early. Now, the reason why college is under attack, because some of those kids went to college and then realized, oh, shit, maybe that wasn't right. It challenges you. These learning environments challenge us to be better people. And again, when you have a faction of folks that are hell-bent on conquer, conquest, and destroy, and this is typically males of European descent, right? Education system is threatening to their status quo, right? To what to their cultural norms. And that is not all, that is the few. So yes, there's an effort to tear it apart because a smart human, especially a minoritized human, that's whether it's woman, whether it's gay, whether it's of Asian descent, of African descent, whatever it is, a minoritized individual threatens to make an equitable playing field. And I believe education is the single greatest system that keeps us uncorruptible with the critical thinking. You can't break through that mess. So yeah, that's my opinion. And I don't know that I'm not always right, but but I don't claim these are my theories. So I don't know. I try to motivate audience. David Glass said, try to motivate audience, but a lot of folks just want to complain on socials. Yeah, we gotta let's go. That's okay, David. That is where people, that's also appropriate. But some of us have to take a different step, right? That is also, I'm not saying there's a wrong way to do things. I'm just saying that hope is an action and we're just taking steps forward, right? Solo Shun said solution. Oh, I love it. Solution. This whole time, I get it. Solution says, I recommend if you have not done already, to connect with Knarrative by Karen Hunter. Knarrative. Knarrative. It's like narrative with a K, or maybe it's narrative. Girl, slap me. I should know KN is silent. Okay. I can read it. Reading is fundamental. It's narrative. It's narrative, but it's narrative with the K in front of it and two A's. Okay. Narrative. KNAA. All right. I gotta go because I gotta get dressed, yo. Until next time, y'all, because we be doing stuff and things. Please go take care of yourself. Please take care of yourself. You too, Nathan Sims. Have a fantastic day. I am Jackie Glass, Mama, Navy Vet certified doer, and the Lake-Stoke legislator for the House of Delegates, 93rd District in Virginia. Do great. Be great. You're a certified doer, and doers get more done. Don't come for me, Home Depot. Take care, y'all. Bye-bye.